enough of us for the moment. Now it's your turn. Hashtag Undisputed Live. Here we go. First tweet from True Story. Here we go. There's Michael on Saturday night. There's Emmett on Saturday night. There's Jimmy saying, how about them Eagles? How about them Eagles? Woo, thank you. Thank you, Eagles.
That was a cool moment.
That's right.
I enjoyed that.
It was great.
Yes, Sherm, that was a great moment, man, right there. And Coach lined that thing up with that, how about them Cowboys, man. I get emotional even watching it today. It's just a great moment. Yeah,
it was a moment. Second tweet's from DeTruth. Detroit Lions fans falling victims to the wet bandits. There's Pesci and Stern from Home Alone. And I remind you, the Lions also fell victim or got robbed in a playoff game in Dallas in 2014. If you remember that, Michael, do you remember Anthony Hitchens? Was that pass interference? They picked up the flag and it was blatant pass interference. I don't know what that was about, but thank you. We appreciate you. Maybe we'll see Detroit again. All right. Tweet number 3 is from James Pearson. The referees in the Dallas-Detroit game. See you never, says the great Ray Charles. See you never.
Right.
Yeah, that is true.
Don't see.
No. Okay, Michael Irvin, you have brought this up several times on this show that you believe finally putting your coach Jimmy Johnson in the Ring of Honor, the Cowboys Ring of Honor, will break the 28-year curse that has kept the Cowboys out of even an NFC championship game since your Cowboys won the franchise's last Super Bowl. That was in early 1996. Wow. After what you experienced, Michael, at halftime in that game on Saturday night, do you feel even better about the Jimmy curse being broken?
Well, listen, today, man, Saturday night, after I saw what happened in the game, I promise I got home, I said, wow, that's interesting. That's crazy that what happened at the end of the game on the night that Jimmy went in. Because remember, when I was there, Skip, somebody, I don't know if it was you or Sherm or Key, asked me, did we win that night that we got inducted?
Yeah,
we were
Key
playing the
did.
Washington Commanders.
Yep.
Right, Key did. And we were up the whole game. The whole game, like 14-0 and a 13-0. We missed extra point or something. And late in the game, I think they hit Santana Moss for the touchdown. We lost that game. And I was having that feeling. I was like, oh, my God, this is happening again. This is happening again. You know, I thought that was happening that night. But when they won that game, at the end of that game, when they won that game, that took me back to Jimmy. I said, oh, maybe this thing is really over now. All of that jinx that has been laying over the Dallas Cowboys. And then when Philly went down, the way they went down, up all of those points, there's no way anyone could have seen. Right here, right now, the Dallas Cowboys being the NFC East winners.
Unbelievable.
I was like, whoa, we are about to get games coming in to our stadium. I was worried about and trying to move around the whole playoff picture to see who I can send to San Francisco so we didn't have to go there. And now we won't have to go there until it's the NFC Championship game. Oh, man. Well, I tell you what, man, that curse, that's that Jimmy Johnson. It has to be. There's no other way.
Yep.
There was no other way this could have come out and happened the way it had happened.
Yep.
There's no other way. And Jimmy gets his moment in that building and hovers over that building, and now we will have more moments in that building. I'm saying yes, this is the curse being lifted. And I hope they see that this is the curse being lifted and start grabbing a hold to what's rightfully theirs.
Richard, you buying?
Well, I don't know. I don't know. This is not something that I ever thought about, so I can't say that I'm buying or selling. You know, I thought it was a special moment. I thought that was one of the more cool things, just the history of the NFL and all that. So the energy, the how about them Cowboys was the icing on the cake, the cherry on top. But again, that team did not respond in the way that I thought. You know, the referees responded in a way, you know, to change the outcome. But I didn't think that the team necessarily said, hey, and what I want to do, because we haven't yet, is give Dak Prescott a ton of credit and CeeDee Lamb. He had, 374 in the game we talked about the offense not playing well, but 374 is as good as it gets. I think CeeDee Lamb had 230. Yeah. So I guess those guys responded in a big way. Then you got the Micah Parsons offsides. The defense had 2 turnovers. You know, there were moments for both teams in that game, but I don't know. We'll see January 15th through February 14th or whenever the Super Bowl is.
But Sherman, if they put up the regular 40 points that they've been putting up and they blow that game out, then there is no indication that we can have any verification that the curse had been lifted. So this way, as odd as it is, as crazy as it is, it has to be this way just so you can sit and say, there's no other way or there's no other explanation for the things that happen in the way that they have happened, except the curse has been lifted. That's all. That's what I'm saying. You know what I mean? No way Philly loses that game against Arizona.
No way.
No way that happens. No way that happens. I didn't see that happen to Skip. No kind of way.
Right. Okay.
Not up to
Michael,
6.
We got to take the first step first. We have not played well on the road, though we've had our moments on the road, but not lately. But we still have to go to our arch rival, as bad as they've been, despite the fact we are 13.5-point favorites at Washington this Sunday, 4:25 Eastern on Fox. We still have to deal with a team that has bedeviled us for years. You experienced it in your time, Michael. You know and I know they will be spoiling to spoil our season because they can knock us right back on our golden tails if we can't figure out a way to beat them the way San Francisco figured out a way to beat them. It was close for a little while, then they pulled away. And yet I still feel like we're just better than them, and surely we can go to their place, their house, and figure out a way to win by 1 point. I don't care if we win by 1 point because that's all we need for 2 home playoff games, obviously, if you win the first one. So your thoughts, Michael, on can we beat Washington at Washington?
Yes, and to this, let me move it to Washington and along the same lines of what we're talking about, the curse of Jimmy being lifted. You know, we had some struggles in Washington. Remember, Skip, that was the famous. If they were really hungry, they could have eaten on the football field. When that poor lady, oh my God,
on your team plane, going home.
On our team plane, going home after we lost a game that we shouldn't have lost to Washington.
You lost to Washington.
She was just trying to serve food to the players.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Right, the flight attendant. That poor lady went and got that cart, and Jimmy got up and said, put that cart away. Don't you feed nobody anything. If they were really hungry, they would have ate on that football field. And from that point on, dog.
That was it.
Hey, from that point on, we didn't lose any more games. No. Right? We don't win the Super Bowl. But every time late in the game, we're close, I would always come in the huddle and say, hey, are we going to eat today or not? When we go, that means are we going to eat on that airplane or not? Jimmy made sure that he kept the edge on. And I'm telling you, the ghost of Jimmy made sure that he kept the edge on. I was worried about this team going to Washington with nothing to play for. They're already not playing well, and now you're going to go to Washington with nothing to play for. Jimmy would never have. Jimmy would have said, we're playing. Everybody's playing the whole game. Yeah. Don't even ask about who's not playing. And I'll let you know later on. He'll tell us, okay, now you come out of the game. Because he didn't want to lose the week of practice, not just because when you say you're not playing, then you don't practice the same with the same intensity. Yeah. That was something he always kept under his cap and his cap only. And I knew it always helped our team, and he's helped that team right now by saying, get ready to play Week 18 because you know you need it.
Okay, Michael, I'm going to remind you, 1 year ago this week, our team went to Washington with a little bit to play for if Philly was going to have a hard time with the Giants in Philly, which they did not because Giants were down to their third-string quarterback. But remember, we laid our biggest egg of the year, even though the starters did play. Dak was horrible in that game, threw another pick six in that game. We lost 26-6. Dak had a QBR, I think, of 15 on a scale of 0 to 100. It was arguably his very worst game. He was below 50% in completions. And their young quarterback, who we'll have to see again, just tore us up. as did their run game, as did everything else. We didn't show up, but you can argue nobody really believed that Philly was going to lose to the Giants, and there was nothing else to play for. But they got to right the wrong of 1 year ago on this field, right?